6:45 in your Sunrise Smart Start this Friday. We have reaction to the verdicts in a trial for the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. 5 members of the Proud Boys defendants here. 4 of them found guilty on the most serious offense. Dominic Pizzola, a Rochester man, not guilty, though, on that charge. For the latest, here's Christian Garzone.
While Pizzola is not guilty of seditious conspiracy, all of the defendants were found guilty of obstructing Congress, the certification of President Joe Biden's electoral win. There were also charges in obstructing law enforcement, as well as 2 conspiracy charges. Pizzola, one of 2 defendants who took the stand. The other defendants were cleared of an assault charge related to Pizzola, who stole a police riot shield in the chaos. Pizzola broke into the Capitol with that shield and encouraged nearby rioters to enter the building. Prosecutors argued the defendants conspired to use unlawful force to keep former President Donald Trump in office. Here now is Pizzola's lawyer, Stephen Metcalf. He said Pizzola took the stand. For that, there are no regrets.
Dominic Pizzola, I thought, was himself. I thought he did amazing. I thought he showed what everybody did not see in him.
Metcalf said his goal was to separate Pizzola from the seditious conspiracy charge.
I'm proud of and stand by the jury's decision on separating him from count 1, which is seditious conspiracy. Ultimately, count 2 is also a conspiracy charge, and that ended in a mistrial as well.
U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland also weighed in today.
The evidence presented at trial detailed the extent of the violence at the Capitol on January 6th and the central role these defendants played in setting into motion the unlawful events of that day.
Metcalf said this was a tough 5-month ordeal, but the fight will continue.
There's parts of this verdict that essentially we disagree with, that are going to continue in the appellate divisions.
Some of the men could each face 20 years in prison. The jury remains hung on other charges. They were dismissed for the day on Thursday. Back to you.
Christian, thanks. More headlines. The owner of a gun store on Ridgeway Avenue is crediting his alarm system for stopping an attempted smash and grab this week. Greece police investigating released the video of this when it happened at All-Star Tactical Monday. A group of suspects you can see trying to use a stolen car ramming through the entrance of the shop, but they did not succeed. The alarm went off and they ran from the scene. The owner shares some of the same concerns so many have been voicing this year.
It's unfortunate that it's affecting so many different small business owners, from, mom and pop shops, even to larger big box stores. But, in the end, it really just affects the community, and that prices will go up. Everything, costs go up, insurances go up. It's sad because it'll put people out of business that can't afford to rebuild or repair.
Anyone with information on leads on those suspects is asked to please call 911. 20-year-old Travion Gates has pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter for the beating death of 65-year-old Gerald Wayne Irvin. Happened here in the city in April 2022. Police found Irvin severely injured on North Clinton Avenue. He died at the hospital. In this case, police determined Gates was looking for someone to attack, and Irvin was his second victim attacked that night. A 12 and a 13-year-old are charged with making a terroristic threat after police say they threatened to shoot up schools last month in Genesee County. Batavia police tell us the students were attending Notre Dame High School when they made the phone call to the suicide hotline. And on that call, police say they threatened the shooting at the school. All schools in the county immediately went into lockout as they investigated. The threat was deemed to be not credible. Attorney General Tish James has released more details in her investigation into a murder-suicide in our area involving a Greece police officer. It was November 14th last year. Off-duty officer Tiffany Gadsden shot and killed Angeli Solis and injured her sister in Rochester. Gadsden then died by suicide. The AG's office says a review of the evidence confirms Gadsden was in fact responsible for the victim's death. The attorneys general from both New York and California have launched an investigation into the NFL, looking into the league's workplace practices and culture. Tish James, again, says she wants to examine allegations that relate to employment discrimination at league offices in both states and what they describe as a hostile work environment. James says in February last year, 30 former employees, all women, faced retaliation after they filed complaints with the league's division of HR. The Rochester Police Accountability Board is back in business after canceling a series of meetings due to a lack of members. Without the required number of seats filled for a meeting, the 9-member board of volunteers was unable to have a meeting for months. Last night, the board did welcome in 3 new members and said goodbye as well to Dr. Robert Harrison, who died recently. Harrison was a founding member of the board. His colleagues remember him as a passionate and outspoken champion who believed in the work of the PAB. The PAB board oversees the agency of the same name, both created in a referendum in 2019. Voters who approved of the measure were hoping to create a group that would investigate reports of police misconduct. To date, the agency has received more than 300 complaints, but no findings or full reports of abuse have been released. Let's turn now to get updates on that forecast. Here's James planning out your Friday. Looking good heading into the weekend.
Yeah, how about a bike ride maybe this morning?
Yeah, get out and enjoy it.
Yeah, numbers in the 40s, so slight chill this morning, but partial sun is nice to see, and we warm quickly well out of the 40s and into the 50s this afternoon. Let's take a look. A 57 Rochester, a 56 Brockport. Greece Webster, you're barely getting into the 50s. A lot of spots there. If your house is sitting right on the lake, then you're stuck in the 40s because of that cool air. 58 for Victor, Canandaigua getting to 58 as well. Maybe a few spots in Livingston County getting close. Dansville, 61 later today. We'll take a look at the 8-day forecast at the end of the show. Brennan.
All right, thank you, James. Looking at our traffic map for your sunrise road report for this Friday morning rush hour. This just in, got a broken down car on the right shoulder of 490 westbound at the Goodman Street exit, that being exit 17, so just move over if you're passing through there coming into downtown. Looking out on the west side, everything doing just okay. More sunrise traffic coming up at 725. If you've been out driving on the thruway lately, you may have noticed some areas need some repairs. Well, thruway officials are looking to increase funding for maintenance along the interstate to address this. That could also bring you another hike in tolls. The pavement in some spots is deteriorating. The bridges have worn out with age. And in December, as we told you, the Thruway Authority did propose another toll hike. This would kick in 2024. The Thruway hardly receives any state or federal funding. The main source of revenue is the tolls that the Thruway would pay for itself. They also add travel is expected to really go up post-pandemic this summer, including a significant uptick in commercial freight movement.
Commercial trucks, large commercial vehicles, have a significantly greater impact on overall pavement conditions. As we pointed out, 17% of vehicles on the thruway are large trucks.
Officials at areas like Rochester, with all the winter weather and heavy traffic, make the part of the thruway near us in some of the greatest need of repair. Meantime, on the other side of this, the state comptroller says raising tolls should be the last option for the thruway. He says the Thruway Authority has more work to do when it comes to finances. Some of you may have noticed a lot of construction happening along South Avenue by Highland Park in Rochester, which is where we're going to have the Lilac Festival in 1 week. It's raising some questions about what does this mean for all the crowds. The work runs from Elmwood Avenue to Bellevue Drive along South Ave. The upgrades include a new water main system, sidewalks, lighting, and other improvements.
I just think people are going to start the festival out being a little frustrated. And it's also, from what I can see, the festival is at the same time as the PGA Championship, so we're going to just have a lot of things going on in Rochester at the same time.
The city notes all the construction work in the area will be paused briefly and cleaned up for the festival. Shuttles will be running to a variety of parking locations during the event. South Avenue construction, that overall project, will pick back up again this summer, should be done by the fall. Final preparations underway right now at Westminster Abbey for King Charles III's coronation. That's coming up early tomorrow. More than 6,000 troops are taking part in the royal procession. Charles will be the 40th monarch crowned at the historic church, a tradition dating back to William the Conqueror. More news on the way for this summer as we're less than 2 months out from the Rochester International Jazz Festival. A change in venue. The festival's organizers says the Club Pass Global Jazz Now series will be held at Christ Church on East Ave instead of at Glory House International, that's on Chestnut. There's no change to the lineup there. The festival says this move will allow for more seating. If you want to take a walk on the wild side, go tonight to the first Zoo Brew of the season at the Seneca Park Zoo. There'll be plenty of food, live music, drinks, of course, and the company of the animals. The zoo is celebrating as well on this day Cinco de Rhino. All proceeds will go towards saving rhinos from extinction. Tickets available until 3 this afternoon unless they sell out sooner. Barbie fashion designer, computer space, The Last of Us, and Wii Sports. Those inductees announced yesterday and selected from 12 finalists at the Toy Hall of Fame at the Straw Museum. The winners are chosen by an international panel of experts based on different criteria, including longevity and influence. The museum says this was a really strong class.
A lot happening this weekend, first weekend of May. Tough to pay attention in school sometimes when the weather gets this good, especially by this afternoon. 60s this weekend.
Love it.
Looking forward to it.
We are done here at Sunrise. Thanks for watching us. CBS Mornings up next. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.